Beloved, we have come to the end of what is known in the church calendar as the ordinary season, the season from Pentecost until Christ the King Sunday, which is this weekend, opening the way for us to celebrate once again the coming of the Lord in the incarnation and the anticipation of the second coming at the end of the age. One of the readings from the lectionary is that moment in the life of Jesus when he stands before Pilate and Pilate has him on trial, except that Jesus flips the script and turns everything around, and it's Pilate who's on trial. And so I want you to listen as I just lay this out and allow you to consider this. So significant to me what's going on here from an existential and a philosophical perspective as it relates to our ultimate answers when it comes to who God is. It's about the reality of choice and responsibility. When Pilate asks Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" he actually is stepping into a moment of deep responsibility. He's in way over his head. Jesus doesn't give him a direct answer. Instead, Jesus says, "Do you say this on your own, or did others tell you about me?" Jesus puts the weight of the question back on Pilate, forcing him to consider whether he's genuinely seeking truth or simply playing his role as a Roman official. This is indeed a moment of choice for Pilate, whether he likes it or not, much like the choices we all face. Will he engage with the question of the identity of Jesus for himself, or will he let the opinions of others dictate his decision? Instead of answering honestly, Pilate deflects. What does he say? "I'm not a Jew, am I?" That's a way of avoiding personal responsibility. Like Pilate, we often try to dodge questions that demand we confront what we believe and why. Now we're going to get into the fact that there's a clash of kingdoms. When Jesus says, "My kingdom is not from this world," he isn't just making a statement about heaven. He's redefining what it means to rule. Pilate represents the kind of power the world knows: dominance, violence, control. Jesus, however, speaks of a kingdom built on truth, service, and self-sacrificial, self-emptying love. Pilate sees kingship as something tied to armies and territory. Jesus reframes power entirely. His kingdom isn't maintained by force, but by hearts that belong to the truth. Pilate struggles to understand this, just as we often struggle to grasp the kind of authority Jesus embodies. His kingdom transcends human systems of power and operates on an entirely different plane, one that challenges the very foundations of worldly authority. This is a different kind of kingship. Pilate's response, "So you are a king?" reveals how baffling Jesus' kingship is to him. In Pilate's world, kings don't surrender or stand on trial. They conquer with might and fear and intimidation. Yet Jesus' power is found in his willingness to suffer, to serve, and to give himself for others. This is the very paradox of the kingdom of God, because this is the paradox of Jesus' kingship. Power is perfected in weakness. Authority is grounded in self-emptying love. It's a kingship that challenges all of our human ideas of control and compels us to rethink what real leadership and strength looks like. Pilate's confusion reflects the struggle all of us face when we try to fit Jesus into worldly categories. His kingdom isn't about coercion. It's about love and truth. So what do we say about the testimony to truth? When Jesus says, "For this cause I was born, and for this cause came I into the world, to testify to the truth," he's revealing his ultimate mission. Jesus didn't come to accumulate power or wealth, but to reveal the truth about God and his kingdom. And this truth isn't just a concept, it's relational, because the kingdom is relational. It's found in the person of Jesus himself, the Logos made flesh. To belong to the truth is to be in relationship with Jesus, to hear his voice, to respond, to obey. Pilate's inability to hear this voice shows his separation from truth, a condition many still experience right here, right now. Jesus' words challenge us to live authentically, aligning our lives, harmonizing them with God's reality instead of the illusions of power or sinful self-interest. Pilate's a mirror for all of us. He represents the inner struggle we all face when we're confronted with the truth. His later question, what is truth, reflects the skepticism of his time and ours. He's caught between recognizing something extraordinary about Jesus and the fear of losing his position and power. Like Pilate, we all wrestle with the tension between what we know is right and what we feel is safe or convenient. Pilate's choice to hand Jesus over reveals the human tendency to resist transformation when it threatens our comfort. This is the challenge we all face. Will we choose to embrace the truth and align with it even when it costs us? Or will we avoid responsibility and cling to the status quo? There's Christ's kingdom, and then there's the kingdoms of the world. But Christ's kingdom comes with a cosmic invitation. Jesus' encounter with Pilate isn't just a political moment. It's a cosmic revelation. His kingdom isn't another earthly regime. It's a new creation breaking into the old creation. Jesus is redefining kingship radically at the root as sacrificial love and truth as liberation. To belong to the kingdom of Christ is to be set free from fear, sin, and the world's false promises of security. The question Jesus poses to Pilate is the same one he poses to us. So, will you and I listen to his voice? His kingdom cannot be seized by force or understood through human logic. It must be entered through faith. It's a kingdom where love rules, truth sets us free, and the broken are restored. And oh yes, we definitely misinterpret that the kingdom is taken by force in the current culture. We have no clue when we talk about it that way, because that's not what John the Baptist and Jesus were doing. Pilate's dialogue with Jesus is more than a historical moment. It's a spiritual crossroads for every single human being. It's why it's in the sacred text. Pilate's struggle with truth mirrors our own. Jesus stands before us as the embodiment of ultimate reality, offering a kingdom not built on domination, but on love. The question remains, how will we respond? Will we surrender ourselves to the voice of truth, or like Pilate, turn away, wash our hands out of fear and inconvenience? The choice is ours, and it's one that shapes everything about who we live, how we live, and who we are, and where we're going.